How's it going? It's Charles Botenston, and today we're going to be discussing, as you may notice, I'm wearing a suit and tie. Suit and tie! First time wearing a suit and tie. I don't know where that came from. That was just built up inside, just needed to come out. Just be super comfortable wherever you are and have your cell phone go, yes, that should be good. Look at that. Fantastic. Future wife just emailed me or text messaged me. Anyway, let's make sure that we're all zoomed in here. So today we're going to be talking about shut up and start. Or as Richard Branson says, let's roll. Yes, and roll. Or I forgot what he said. He actually wrote a great book. And essentially, I prepare way too much. And a lot of people actually say this. What's his name? Brian Tracy says this. Brian Tracy says, prepare 5 hours for every 1 hour of action. Maybe, yeah. But you know what's funny? When you prepare for 5 hours, you then prepare for 6 hours and then 7 hours. And then it's the next day, and then you prepare some more, and then you actually don't end up doing it. I'm just saying that from personal experience, and probably in your life as well. There's things that you want to start that you haven't started, but you've been thinking about it or preparing for. Perfect example of me preparing and actually doing it, and then another example of me, many examples of me preparing and never doing it. So we'll start with the positive one, which is in right around September, maybe it's before then. Yeah, probably around August of 2013, I started thinking about, I'm in real estate, and I started thinking about, wow, what would it be like if I started my own company? And I started thinking about it. It wasn't even, it came from, if I had my own company, what would I do? There was a couple of things that I was at a really good firm, really big firm, and there's controls in place. So there's no, there's like 1,000 agents that work there. There's actually more than 1,000. So there needs to be controls. There needs to be some kind of stability, which I completely understand. The thing is, I don't really understand that, because I understand it. If I ran it, I would want controls in place, but I can't be in an environment like that where you have to be in this box. And I'm like, well, why can't I make the videos that I'm making right now? It has to be branded with the company. It has to be a certain way. They have to look at each video before you put it on your own personal website. So I was like, listen, what would I do if I had my own firm? I would make videos, I would give value, I would market differently, and then it started to snowball and say, actually, okay, outside of marketing, I would do this. And then I would also hire people that would do this, and I would be the rainmaker and I would give out my business. And that started snowballing until I blurted it out loud at Thanksgiving, and I just said, yeah, I'm opening my own firm. What? Everyone's like, oh, okay, cool idea, Charles. Let's get him on the couch. He's been drinking too much. And it literally, I think one of the biggest things is to actually say it, because then you're held accountable. I'm actually looking to lose weight. Say it. I'm looking to make more money. Say it. I'm looking to start a business. Say it. And that's what I did. I said it, not to lose weight or whatever. I said, I'm looking to start a business. And that was the first time I ever said it. I didn't even think I actually wanted to. To be honest, at that point, I actually had to convince myself to actually do it. But it was good that I said it, because that's actually how I felt. And I'm going to make another video on your actual gut reaction. I'm going to write that down, because your gut feeling video, that's how you should live life. Your gut feeling when you date, when you want to do things, when you want to start things, when you want to end things, go with your gut. There's easy things that you can go with your, okay, I don't want to get into it. So I then started to plan. I started small. I was like, oh, okay, let's make a spreadsheet. And I had different tabs under each one. And I said, marketing, this is what I'm going to do when I open my firm. Then I said website. When I open my website, or when I start my website, these are the categories, these are the different pages, menu options that I'm going to have. Then I had another tab for YouTube, and then another tab for how am I going to launch it, and future business. How am I going to get future business? And I'll never forget it. I started just adding to this, and I highly recommend you use Google Drive. Google Drive is on your cell phone, and all you need to do is literally open it, open Google Drive, this is it, and there's all of your folders. You can update it on your computer, you can update it on your phone, you can update it on your iPad, on a browser. Doesn't matter where you are, you can update it. And Google Drive has documents in there. So I started updating it from my phone when I was at work. I'm like, oh, that's actually a good idea. Logged into Google Drive, started updating. Google Drive, you could put whatever you want. And listen, I'm not getting paid to say this. I just use it and I love it. And I don't see myself really going to anything else because it's so convenient. And how powerful it's becoming is just improving. So I started adding to it, and it was funny is that I started adding more tabs in the spreadsheet, and I started adding more things within each tab, and before you knew it, I had a business plan. Within 3 months, I had a business plan of publicly saying it. So number one, think about what you want, publicly say it because you're going to be held accountable, then start planning because you're like, well, I already said it, so I should probably start getting on top of it. So that was Thanksgiving. I said it in front of my family. Most people just dismissed it. I would say actually nobody said, oh, that's cool, man. Everyone just dismissed it. So then Thanksgiving to Christmas, then January, February. So yeah, right around January. And during that time, I was getting my broker's license. So my broker's license, you're a salesperson in real estate, and then you're a broker. And then once you become a broker, there's certain criteria you have to meet. Once you're a broker, you can go out on your own. I started doing the LLC. I started thinking of names, the .com, the logo. I started really getting into it. And that was the fun part. That was the preparing. And what is amazing is that there's momentum. This could be another one. I'm going to do another video on momentum. And positive and negative momentum is that I started getting such positive momentum that I just was obsessed with it. Anything that I saw that people were doing in a small business arena, in a big business or whatever, I just collected items and show sheets and marketing materials and ideas, and I was like, wow, that's smart, I should do that. And then it just started snowballing. So I believe in planning, especially when you're starting a business. But then there's this, and this is interesting because I met with my top clients, especially the ones that actually started their own business. And one of them, I'll never forget it, we're out to lunch, and he's a well-respected gentleman, and one of my best clients, and he said, and I was telling him the business plan and everything else, and he said, you're mentioning a lot about marketing, you're mentioning a lot about branding, and let me tell you a story. I have a friend that has been branding for years, and he's never launched his company. And at that point, I then started paying attention to people like Brian Tracy, and Brian Tracy started saying things like, cash flow is the number one reason why businesses go out of business. Number one reason. Businesses go out of business because of the lack of cash flow. Yes, there's bad environments, but that's not a result, but that's something you can't control the environment. You can't control the market. You just can control how you bring in money. And if you spend too much money, a lot of people, and he mentioned this, a lot of people have these huge, outrageous opening parties and perks for their employees, and everyone gets a bicycle, and everyone gets days off, and free lunch, and free dinner, and car service, and then by the end of it, you have no cash flow. And then you start pulling back. And then people, because they're used to it, are like, oh, I don't have my car service. I don't have my dinner, my free lunch, and everything else. So I've noticed cash flow is incredibly, woo, you need it. Don't spend too much. So that's a positive where I planned my ass off. I planned like a banshee. So I launched my company, make sure that I'm still zoomed in. I launched my company in April 1st, and it was probably about 7 months of intense planning. I still had a job. I was still going to work. It's real estate, so you make your own hours. But I was still servicing clients to the nth degree. I actually had probably between when I said I was going to start my business to when I started the business, I was like an unreal amount of closings I had, an unreal amount of business I brought in. So I then started to question it. Maybe this is the right place. I just like a good environment. I think emotions have a huge role on where you are, and a lot of people cannot control their emotions more than the environment can. You know, if the environment is exciting and pumping up and positive and you're the best, you're gonna just be like, yeah, I'm the best. So that's what I felt that I want to build. That's what I wanted to build. So lots of planning. Okay, now let's go into some negative ones. One, I've been planning to call for sale by owners for 6 months, and I have called maybe 12 in 6 months. So that's 1 every 2 months, or no, 2 every 1 month. That's terrible. 1 every 2 weeks. It's brutal. And you know what's funny is that one of the people I called out of that 12, I ended up getting a listing, and now he's going to use me to sell his other home. So it works. And the way that I look at the planning is you want to over prepare, but when you over prepare, or I shouldn't say but, I should say and, when you over prepare and you are ready to perform or ready to take action, you're more comfortable. You're ready to take the fear. And that's the thing is, I don't think I've actually prepared. I think I've tried to convince myself that I've prepared to call for sale by owners. For sale by owners are people, in case you're not familiar, have their home on the market without an agent, and I'm calling them saying, hey, listen, I see you are not being represented, and here is where I can benefit you, your home, how fast it sold, the price, things like that. And obviously the only reason that they're selling it on their own is because they don't want to pay the broker compensation, which I completely understand. Listen, if I was a competent person that had the time to do it and I had the right marketing, I would think about it as well. But I also know on my case, I can sell myself based on purely my past and my history and how well I've done. So I'm confident once I'm in front of them, actually getting in front of them, that's the fear. So there's another one is hiring. I've prepared a while to hire, and I haven't hired. So this is a huge, this is a big one right here, is that I will be a good manager. I will be a very influential, a very hands-on, a very, I will be a good leader, you know, because I'm passionate, I'm sympathetic, I'm also understanding, and I'm also hard. You know, if someone doesn't know what to do, I'm going to be hard on them. I'm going to be like, listen, here's how you do it, and I'm going to challenge you to rise above where you are right now to reach that goal that I've set for you. And the goal that we've set, I should say, it's going to be obviously a mutual goal that we set, whether it's a sales goal, a daily goal on how many notes they're going to write or how many emails they're going to send out or how many phone calls. You know what's funny is that I've thought about this, is that if I hire someone or when I hire someone, is I'm going to be held accountable. That's the biggest positive. I am going to be held accountable. It boils down to fear. You can plan all you want to go to the gym, to make more money, to start a business, to leave a business, to get into a relationship, to get out of a relationship, to stop smoking, to stop drinking, to pick up the call and be in touch with someone you haven't talked to. You can plan as much as you can, but the number one thing is action. And without action, your planning doesn't mean squat. Doesn't mean anything. I've planned to call for sale by owners. I've planned to hire. Have I taken action? Negative. And have I tried to convince myself that I have? I have. I've tried to convince myself that I've taken action. But have I? No, I haven't. So that's it, is you need to take action when you need to plan. Perfect example, Tom Brady. I'm a Jets fan. Obviously, you can't see it, but there's a Jets helmet behind me. And Tom Brady was picked 7th or 199th in the 2000 draft or 1999 draft. I think 2000 draft. And 2001. And he was behind Drew Bledsoe, which was the starting quarterback, and 2 other players. He wasn't even going to make the team. And he's calling his agent saying, and by the way, 6 other quarterbacks were picked in front of him. He ended up leaving. He was crying. He wanted to play for San Francisco because that's where he grew up. He was a huge fan of what's his name? I see him. God, he's got 3 rings too. All right. Well, you guys at home will probably know who it is. But the 49ers quarterback, not the guy. All right. Anyway, I'll move on. But he wanted to get picked up by San Francisco. He didn't. And at the 199th pick overall, Tom Brady, who went to Michigan, which is a D1 school, I think he ended up winning a bowl game, coming back and winning a bowl game, gets picked, and he used his frustration from being picked the 7th quarterback, almost the 200th pick, using that motivation for preparation, and when his time was called, he took action. That's the difference. And you know what's funny? Today's 2014, or this year's 2014. And obviously to have a 14-year career is very rare, especially as a quarterback. But I think in 2011 or 2012, when they did a special on him on ESPN, he was the only quarterback left in his class. And his class is the draft year. So he's the only quarterback left. So the way I look at it is action is the biggest. You need action as the biggest result for preparation, and that's going to be the title of this video. Because without action, and I am guilty as sin, I'm guilty as charged, I am not preaching to say I do this 100% of the time. I'm saying this because this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do every time I prepare, is to take freaking action. You need to take action. Anyway, my name is Charles Botenston. I come out with a video every single weekday. And today is action, prepare, but the biggest thing is action. Prepare all you want, the 5 hours, as Brian Tracy says, 5 hours for every 1 hour of action. So for myself, I have to pitch an owner. It's usually about an hour. Have I prepared for 5 hours? That's another one. I haven't fully prepared for a pitch with an owner. And that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. I go in and I've won. Actually, I lost last week. Well, she decided not to sell. So I'm 100%, and my ego is through the roof when I talk to an owner. But I know that I can just tweak a couple other things, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I haven't called for sale by owners, is because I haven't gotten my pitch down. I haven't fully committed to the pitch, which is ridiculous. But prepare, take action. Biggest part of today, take action. You need to take action, or else you're going to regret that you haven't, and then you're going to say, it's too late. It's too late. You know what? I think that's BS. I just read an article of a woman who had the top 45 things to live by. She's 90 years old. And you know when she wrote it? Right after she was told that she had breast cancer. And she thought she was going to die. And she lived another 45 years. Another lifetime. Good for her. She took action without regret. She said, this is what you do. And I think she was going to give it to her grandkids. Say, these are the 45 most valuable lessons I've learned up until this point, especially when death is knocking. And she lived another 45 years. So take action before you regret it. And I am 100% on board with you and to do that as well. So anyway, I'm Charles Bodenston. Follow me on Instagram. That's my favorite social media network. Obviously, subscribe to my videos. And I will see you tomorrow.